That must look weird, huh? Could you hear my clock in the background? It's a freaking grandfather clock. You want to know how I feel about time? That son of a bitch sounds like a jackhammer. Every second wasting, wasting. Let him who hath understanding, huh? Oh my God. Jesus knew that whoever figured it out was just going to like go nuts. He knew it. He could see it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make you nuts like I am. And it's a long day already. Fun day yesterday. Um, I was surrounded by angels. Okay. Shout out to Dylan, Robert, and also West Virginia lady, whoever you are. This lady wanted to go behind me with her flashers on while I'm driving on my tire, flat tire on my motor. I had got a flat on my motorcycle yesterday. I've never gotten a flat before. That's the first time I've ever gotten a flat on a motorcycle, and I'm 60 years old. Um, but there's one thing that I always do when I drive around. I have a very keen eye. If I'm just driving around and I'm, just out enjoying the sights, well, guess what? Sometimes those sights, guess what? Well, there might be a nail there in my sight. And I stop, turn around. I can't tell you, there's been a lot of times where I've actually turned around to go pick up a nail that I thought was a nail in the road. And it wasn't even a nail, it was something else, whatever. And hey, what's up, buddy? And so yeah, I'll turn around to go see if there's any nails. If I think there's a nail in the road, why wouldn't I pick it up? Right? I might come back and run the thing over and get a flat. And that's the level at which we don't appreciate the scriptures, right? Like when you take care of your neighbor and it says, do unto your neighbor in the same way that it can be done unto you. What we don't realize is we're part of this existence, everything we are that we live in. This is a body, like a body. Okay. It's, well, God doesn't have a body. He's a spirit, but he needs something to inhabit, to live in, to dwell in, a temple made without human hands, not of man's decision. Get in there, woman. We're doing it now. No, it's what we don't realize is that spirit that gives the breath of life is in all of us. So the things that we do, we kind of bump into and touch each other. Those are those angels where remember how their wings always touch? Yeah. But yesterday, boy, I was surrounded by angels because I started driving, and then all of a sudden I got a whiff of like that. If you've ever let the air out of a tire, if you've worked on cars and you have to change tires or do things like that, when you let the air out of the tire, the air has been pressurized in a rubber environment. Okay. And that rubber environment, it deteriorates a little bit in there. It has a shelf life. So it kind of degrades a little bit and imparts a odor to the air that's in there. So when you let the air out of the tire, you'll smell that smell. Well, it's a good idea to know what that smell is because when you smell that smell, it just means that a tire is losing air, right? When you smell smoke, well, there's probably fire someplace, right? Well, I was driving along and all of a sudden I smelled that smell and I went, that smells like a tire. And then all of a sudden my bike started going like, it was weird when I would try to accelerate, it was doing like like it wanted to, it was jerking back and forth, not up and down, but like back and forth. But what was going on was the rear tire was getting so soft that when I was accelerating, I was deforming it. I was twisting it and causing it to flex around. And so it felt really weird. But I pulled over, got on the phone, called my insurance company, and they tell me that I don't even know what the hell, I know the places around here, and yeah, it's like I never heard of this place. It's some oil company or something, right? So I said, I think to myself, I go, oh man, I go, oh, forget it. I go, these people are going to get here. And they said it was like a 2 hour thing or something, right? So I'm like hanging around waiting. And finally I said, I go, I'm going to just try and drive it and see how far I can go. So I think when I get to the top of this one hill, I'm at, where I think I'm at. I'm actually further out than I know. I drive, go over the hill on this tire, and it's just acting very, very strange. Not, I'm going so slow, I could probably jump off the bike if it started to crash, and just get away from it maybe. But, it's just not riding right. But I go as far as I can. And finally I just go, ah, shit. I go, this is just feeling too weird. It was kicking off to the side. And so I didn't know if the tire was getting ready to come apart. The rubber just shred like tires do if you drive on them wrong. And so I pulled over, and then all of a sudden, here comes this lady, and she says, "I'll stay behind you with my blinkers on to protect you." And I go, "And I'm what?" And she goes, "I'm not from around here. I'm from West Virginia." And it was stupid of me because what I should have done immediately with her was said, "Pull over," because that was a very chance meeting. I got a flat on the side of the road, and here's some lady from West Virginia. It's like a lady stopping. That's not very common, right? That's like meeting the woman at the well or something. That's like a very, a woman stopping to help a man out, guy on a motorcycle or whatever. So I should have flagged her over. I tried to talk to her, and then she finally drove off. And it was nice of her to do that. So then, because I couldn't meet my God divined appointment, because that woman, I'll bet you, from West Virginia, whoever she was, I'll bet you she was the reason I even decided to go out riding yesterday. Because this is like I said, it's a very strange day. Right before I left, I looked at my clock to go out, the clock you always hear, and it was stopped. And I had just wound it, like 2 days before. So I know should have been running, right? And so the clock was stopped at 7:58 and 13 seconds. Um, those happen to be the coordinates for West Virginia. If you look on the GPS coordinates, no, that was total bullshit. I'm lying. I just lied to you there. You're like, what? But if I look at those numbers, I'm sure I'll be able to associate them with something. And even that lady stopping, that was an opportunity for me that I missed. That was a woman at a well. And I might have been able to talk to her, and who knows what she could have said. Oh yeah, my dad's a theologian and he's a professor at Hudafart University, and yeah, I'll talk to him for you, because what I say makes sense, but that's why people run away, because they're thinking like, this guy's the devil, he's twisting God's words all around. It's like, I'm not twisting anything, I'm just reading it like it is. It ain't my fault you can't understand the vocabulary of it. It's like when we see that word know, K-N-O-W, immediately this is what you're thinking about, the place of the skull. Wrong answer. Everything that happens in this world is because of knowing. In other words, the Lord's Spirit is in all the earth, and we're made of earth, and it's working in there, doing everything that it does. So when it says that He's all knowing, it's not just, it doesn't mean, what's 50 gazillion times 2848.382 to the sixth power, and then He just pops off an answer. That isn't what it means, although because He knows everything as a rule, it's like knowing as a rule, as a construct, as a process, versus knowing is just, the process starts in words, right? When you think and have thoughts, aren't they words? Right? They're just words that haven't come out of you yet to create, make, or do whatever you've done. If you're creating something, then hopefully it's something good, because we're not supposed to create graven images. We can create good images, but not graven images, right? So then this lady drives by, and then I get two more people stop by. Well, one guy stops, and he doesn't have a trailer. He's going to go home and pick up his trailer and come and rescue me. And it's like, I'm like, wow, man. I'm just like in tears, I'm so ready to cry right now. It's like just so cool. So the guy comes back and he's telling me, the story that he's been through. I'm working two jobs and uh, I've been, he suffered through an addiction process and whatever. And as soon as he started talking about how hard he had it, I knew why he stopped. And now you know why there's evil in the world. Because the only way you're going to start loving each other like you're supposed to is if God beats the holy living shit out of you. Then you'll turn around. But this guy stopped, man. I told him, I said, do you believe in God or anything? And he said, no. He's like, and I said, I'm not surprised. I said, I'm not surprised. I said, you know why? I go, because you don't need to. I said, you don't understand that Jesus said, when you've seen me, you've seen my Father. And that man didn't abandon me. He saw me needing help. And he didn't just drive by. I got to get to work. My boss will be mad. My wife will yell. Any other excuses that you can come up with, right? So, yeah, that was my flat on my motorcycle yesterday. And then, of course, who shows up? But a guy who was supposedly coming from I don't know where the hell he was coming from. The guy tells me, I'm like, I've been all over this place. Okay. I know the area, if I at least will have heard of it. If I don't know where it is, I know what's in this area. And he named something. I'm like, what, where? And he goes, yeah, it's about an hour away. And I'm like, oh boy. And so finally I get a call and I tell this guy, I go, hey, I don't know where you're coming from, but I got a guy who has left to go get a trailer. So right now I got no guy coming back. He could have got killed on the way home, right? But I'm going to cut my ride off. And I said, look, I go, I don't know if this guy's coming back, but he's a lot closer than you are. And he can take me where I need to go. And I don't, save you from driving, right? Try to think of him. Maybe he might, and it was in fact that this guy was like on like an on-call kind of thing. He just has to work when he has to work. And some jobs carry him later than what he needs to do, right? So he has to. And I found all this out after I had then met the guy. So, but I tell him, see, if you're a good detective, you would catch that in my story. How does he know all this stuff already? And you could kind of read the future. And that's what this Bible is. That's all this book is. If you can read it in that way, you'll go, oh shit, this is what's coming. And it comes. Just like it says. Because he said it. He spoke it and said it, and it's the truth, and it's just how this place works. We're fighting against the book, and it's terrible. But this guy, I call him, hey, yeah. And I go, all right. So he goes, well, where are you? And I tell him where I'm at and everything. He goes, well, I'm going right through there. He goes, and I said, well, I go, if you're coming through here, then pass through. Why not, right? I go, keep going in the direction you're going. If you can pass through this way on your way to where you're going anyway. And so he does. But then the guy comes back with his trailer and he's got like a ramp and, a ramp and a trailer and just like some tie downs and stuff. And I'm looking at it and going, you know what? I got a professional on the way. And if I don't wait, right? In other words, but how do I explain to this guy? You stopped and you tried to be good. And I said, you know what? I go, listen, man, I go, here's what I want to do. I want to let this guy take it. I said, but here's what's important. I go, you stopped. It wasn't your job. Okay. You didn't just show up because someone told you, to go. Right? What did Jesus say? Where I am going, you cannot come. It's because you have to think in advance. You got to think in advance of what you did. So I had to tell this guy, hey, let's let this other guy do it. He does this shit all the time. He's got a tow truck. And that way, we won't drop my bike and then you'll wind up feeling bad because you stopped. I go, it's a very good thing that you stopped. And so, but I, made sure we exchanged phone numbers and whatever. And, but then here comes the other guy, and come to find out that he not only, he's not only going to where